Here in question number 6, it says, given parallelogram OK with congruent diagonals OA and KY. A. List the 3 triangles that are congruent to triangle OYA and the reasons for the congruence. B. List the 3 angles that are corresponding parts of congruent triangles and congruent to angle OYA. C. Find the measure of each of the angles in part B. D. Complete the theorem. If the diagonals of a parallelogram are blank, then the parallelogram is a blank. I'm going to go with a 4-minute time limit for question number 6. Go ahead and pause your video now. All right. So I was able to state that because we're dealing with a parallelogram, we know that opposite sides are parallel and congruent. And because I know that, and I know that my diagonals are congruent, I can state that triangle OYA, that's this triangle, is congruent to KAY, YOK, and AKO. And that's by side, sorry. Well, because each one of those triangles is congruent to the other, and I know that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, I can say that the angle of OYA is congruent to the angle of KAY, which is congruent to YOK, which is congruent to AKO. Now, if we know that each one of those angles is equal to each other, we know that the measure of angle OYA equals the measure of angle KAY, which equals the measure of YOK, which equals the measure of angle AKO. And because those all form a quadrilateral, we know that each one of those is 90 degrees. Since the diagonals of the parallelogram are congruent, then we can prove that the parallelogram is a rectangle. On to the next set of questions.